When we imagine travel in medieval England, we often picture it as slow, difficult, and rare. And in many ways, it was. Yet movement still shaped everyday life, quietly linking villages, towns, markets, and regions through paths worn by routine rather than adventure. In this film, we explore how people traveled in medieval England. We look at why people moved, how they traveled on foot, by horse, cart, river, and road, and how distance, weather, and time shaped the medieval experience of travel. This is not a story of great journeys or exploration, but a calm look at everyday movement in medieval life. Life centered close to home, shaped by work, land, and obligation. Long journeys were uncommon and usually undertaken only when necessity demanded it. Most movement happened within familiar landscapes, routes learned early and repeated often. Walking was the most common form of travel. Paths followed the natural shape of the land, crossing hills, valleys, and riverbanks where passage was easiest. Distance was understood in time and effort rather than measured length. Market journeys were usually short, allowing people to walk there, trade, and return home within a single day. Horses existed, but ownership was limited. While nobles, messengers, and officials often traveled on horseback, ordinary people rarely owned riding horses. Animals were valuable assets, used primarily for labor before transport. For many households, a horse was more tool than vehicle. Carts and wagons were used mainly for moving goods rather than people. Travel by cart was slow and physically demanding, shaped by road conditions and weather. Heavy rain could turn even short journeys into exhausting ones. Roads varied widely in quality. Some followed ancient Roman routes that continued to shape movement centuries later. Others were little more than tracks formed by repeated use. Maintenance was irregular and often the responsibility of local communities. Outside towns, roads might be marked only by worn ground and familiar landmarks. They changed with the seasons, becoming dusty in summer and deeply difficult in winter. Rivers offered another way to move. Waterways allowed heavier goods to travel more easily than overland routes. Boats carried food, building materials, and people between connected settlements. Travel by water was often smoother and more efficient, though still dependent on weather and water levels. Where navigable rivers existed, they became vital transport routes. Bridges, ferries, and fords shaped where people could cross rivers. These points concentrated movement and trade, guiding routes and influencing settlement. Towns often developed at crossings, where travel naturally slowed and gathered. Journeys were planned around daylight and seasons. Without artificial lighting, travel ended as darkness fell. Winter reduced movement, while summer allowed longer travel days. Weather shaped decisions, and routes shifted with rain, frost, and wear. Places of rest developed along busy routes. Inns and lodging houses served merchants and officials, while religious houses often offered shelter to travelers. Travel carried uncertainty, illness, injury, poor weather, and unfamiliar terrain made movement unpredictable. Most people preferred known routes and familiar destinations, limiting risk by staying within recognized boundaries. Despite its limits, travel connected medieval England. Markets linked villages to towns, roads carried news and goods, and rivers tied regions together. Movement was slow, but it was constant and necessary. The medieval experience of travel was defined not by distance, but by effort, time, and purpose. Understanding how people moved helps us see medieval England as a connected landscape shaped by routine journeys rather than grand expeditions. Here on The British Way, we explore history, places, and everyday life through calm, reflective films.